to NTD China News. I'm Karen Chang. Making headlines this Friday, March 1st. 4 men involved in the Mekong River murder executed, but a program by state-run CCTV has sparked anger. A German TV crew's car bashed after they reported in a Chinese village. And China pushes forward with North Korean trade zone despite the North's nuclear test. The case of the Mekong River murder in 2011 came to a close today, with 4 of the men involved being executed in China. But what did state-run CCTV do ahead of the execution that sparked anger online?
China executed 4 men in Kunming, Yunnan province today for the murder of 13 Chinese sailors during a heist on the Mekong River. While the execution was widely accepted, reactions differed to an airing by state-run CCTV of the men before their deaths. CCTV showed the men being taken to their execution site in shackles and ropes, each one escorted by several armed police. The execution itself was not broadcasted, but some believe what was shown was against the law. One lawyer posted on his Weibo microblog account, "The Supreme Court expressly provides the death penalty should be announced but should not be on public display. In terms of morality, it is also very cruel." One Chinese hostess of a legal program on CCTV said on her Weibo account that the parade was unbearable to watch. She said, in other countries, people show respect for those about to lose their life, and that there is no winner in this tragic affair. Many others did not agree, calling her out for sympathizing with the murderers. The 4 men were sentenced last November, but their execution had to be reviewed by the Supreme People's Court in Beijing. They were informed of the court's decision on February 24th. The group was part of a drug trafficking ring that operated on the borders of several countries. The ringleader, Burmese national Nalcom, reportedly orchestrated the attacks on the Chinese cargo boat on the Mekong River in 2011. Nicknamed the Godfather, his arrest was a source of pride for the Chinese government. The 4 men were killed by the lethal injection. 2 others were given a reprieved life sentence and 8 years imprisonment, respectively.
China is forging ahead with plans to build a free trade zone in North Korea. This comes despite international calls for sanctions following the rogue nation's latest nuclear test. The Raison economic zone is located in the northeast of the Korean peninsula and is close to China and Russia. An official at the Joint Management Office said that North Korea's 3rd nuclear test has not stopped progress. A power line from China to Raison is being built to power the industrial hub. China's foreign ministry spokesman said that economic ties between the 2 countries would remain normal. While China has cooperated with UN sanctions to reel in its neighbor's nuclear program, the communist regime remains North Korea's biggest ally and trading partner. Chased for miles by car, driven off the road and assaulted with baseball bats. That was the tenacity shown by a group of men with suspected ties to local authorities in China when they were chasing their prey. But they weren't after any criminals. Their victims were foreign journalists.
A smashed windshield and dented side doors. This is the van belonging to a crew of German television ARD. They were attacked on Wednesday in northern China when they tried to do a report about urbanization in Hubei province. On Friday, China's foreign ministry spokeswoman Hua Chunying said authorities were looking into it. The Foreign Correspondents Club of China, or FCCC, have condemned the attack. They said ARD's crew was reporting in a village, and as they drove away, 4 cars chased them. Their attackers forced them off the road. 2 men with baseball bats smashed their windshield. The German crew got away and found 2 motorbike police, but the pursuers continued to attack the car even in the presences of police. ARD correspondent Christine Edelhart said they tried to file attempted homicide charges against their assailants. Police claimed the charges had already been filed. A local witness later told the German crew that one of the cars pursuing them belonged to the village's Communist Party secretary. Hua Chunying said during Friday's press briefing that foreign reporters had to obey Chinese laws whilst reporting there. The ARD was told by police that they should have asked for permission to film in the village because locals were, quote, offended by their presence. Under Chinese law, foreign reporters do not have to ask for permission to film in public places.
Chinese reporter Wang Keqing has covered some of China's most sensitive issues. And while that's garnered him the respect of many, in a country of stifling censorship, Wang has discovered just how hard his line of work is.
After a decade of working as one of China's top investigative reporters, Wang Keqing has once again been fired from his job. Management at the Economic Observer newspaper pressured him into resigning earlier this week. Over his decade-long career, Wang has tackled sensitive issues like corruption and government involvement in the spread of AIDS. It's generally believed that a recent exposé Wang wrote on horrendous floods in Beijing last July was the final nail in the coffin. Citizen journalist Zhu Ruifeng, who gained notoriety for exposing a sex tape scandal in Chongqing, spoke to NTD about Wang's situation.
Economic Observer tried really hard to have Wang Keqing be the deputy editor-in-chief. They even set up a special investigative team. But because of this article, the paper was suppressed, the team was disbanded, and only he was left. Before Chinese New Year, the head of HR talked with Wang, saying he should leave. On Tuesday, he left Economic Observer.
Wang posted on his Sino Weibo account images of more than 1 ton worth of petitions people have sent to him. He said the papers are filled with the misery, blood, and tears of people throughout China who have put their faith in him. He wrote, "I can throw away my furniture, but these cannot be discarded."
It's especially hard for an investigative journalist in China. The more capable and willing to speak the truth they are, the more they will be pressured from within the media organization. The media may feel that their speaking the truth will negatively impact the company.
This is not the first time Wang has been pushed from his job. In 2011, he lost his job at the China Economic Times after a series of reports on sensitive issues. He most notably covered the mishandling of tainted vaccines by officials in Shanxi province in 2010.
And coming up after the break, Taiwan's health department wants to criminalize organ trade to China. China's home prices continue to climb, and why some netizens are unhappy that Chinese scientists have given a new name to a dangerous air pollutant. And welcome back. Israel already has a law to stop its citizens from going to China to receive organs. That's because of allegations Chinese state-run hospitals are killing prisoners of conscience and selling their organs for profit. Now, Taiwan is considering similar laws to cut down on organ being sourced illegally.
Taiwan's health department said on Thursday it plans to modify its organ transplant laws to criminalize organ trade and brokerage. The main concern is illegally obtained organs in China, where authorities have been accused of killing prisoners of conscience for their organs. China is the main destination for Taiwanese patients who obtain organs overseas.
We want to minimize the occurrence of using organs with questionable sources. We plan to discuss the amendment of organ transplant laws during the upcoming legislative period, and we want everyone's support.
Xu Mingneng spoke during a forum in Taipei on Thursday organized by the Department of Health. On the panel was a group of 5 doctors and investigators from around the world. They visited Taiwan this week to highlight transplant abuse in China. Dr. Jacob Lavi from Israel discovered his patients were going to China for rapid transplants. Some were promised an organ on a certain day, something that suggests China has an on-demand organ supply. He has since worked to get Israel to stop transplanting tourism to China.
Of those brokers who intermediate between local candidates and overseas in China donors, that should be taken care of immediately. That's what we've done in Israel, and that's the way we have succeeded in Israel to stop completely the flow of Israeli patients over to China.
U.S.-based doctor Jianxiao Chu says a combined effort is necessary to stop forced organ harvesting in China.
I think the public, medical community, the political field, and the legal community all need to take action, because this isn't something that doctors alone can accomplish.
Independent investigators and human rights activists have accused the Chinese regime of profiting from forced organ harvesting. The largest groups of victims identified are persecuted Falun Gong practitioners. Detained house Christians and Uyghur minorities are also believed to be amongst those killed for their organs. NTD News, Taiwan.
China's official Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, dropped to a 5-month low of 50.1 in February, down from 50.4 last month. Analysts surveyed by Bloomberg News had expected it to rise slightly before the results came out. A separate PMI number from HSBC Bank also dropped from 52.3 in January to 50.4 last month. A PMI above 50 indicates expansion. Economists say the Lunar New Year holiday could be affecting the numbers as most factories shut down for the celebrations, some for as many as 3 weeks. However, China's official PMI and the gauge from HSBC are both seasonally adjusted for the holiday. Xie Dongming, a China economist at Overseas China Banking Corps in Singapore, tells Bloomberg that China's economic recovery is obviously weak. He says, quote, "The official PMI is almost at the line between expansion and contraction, and seasonal factors from the Chinese New Year holidays alone can't explain this." While manufacturing figures are down, China's home prices are headed the opposite direction. It's something Chinese regulators are trying to rein in, and today central authorities announced measures they hope would curb the heated market.
China's housing prices just keep going up, and it's not a good trend for authorities worried about a property bubble burst. A survey by the China Real Estate System released today shows that average home prices in China's 100 largest cities have risen for 9 months straight. The survey says the new homes rose 0.8% in February from a month ago. Beijing and Shanghai saw an increase of 1% and 1.3% respectively. Compared to 1 year ago, home prices have gone up 2.5%. Keeping a lid on the heated property market has been a main focus for Chinese leaders. Unaffordable housing fuels social complaint, something the stability-obsessed regime wants to avoid. The report coincides with an announcement by China's central authorities that they will put in place measures to cool the market. But the measures are sure to displease homebuyers. State-run Xinhua reports that in cities where prices are rising, quote, excessively fast, banks can increase the down payment rates for second home buyers. Currently, the down payment is 60% of a home's value. Banks can also increase mortgage rates, but the notice did not specify how much to increase the cost by. Taxes for homeowners who sell their properties will also be raised, up to 20% of the profit they make.
Chinese scientists familiar with the nation's smog problems gathered on Wednesday in Beijing, not to find a way to address the problem, but to come up with a new name in Chinese for the most dangerous pollutant, PM2.5. Many Chinese are frustrated more isn't being done to actually get the country's pollution crisis under control.
China's smog and pollution problems are nothing new, but now there's a new official name for the most dangerous PM2.5 particles. On Wednesday, China's National Committee for Terms in Sciences and Technology held a seminar and came up with the name fine particulate matter, or shikeliwu in Chinese. PM2.5 particles are tiny air particles 2.5 microns in diameter. Many Chinese have used the name PM2.5, but scientists say people didn't really know what it meant, so they came up with the new term. But some people are frustrated. Why are authorities spending more time coming up with a name than fixing the problem? One netizen wrote, "Don't they have better things to do? No matter what it's called, it's still hazardous air that we're breathing in." Another wrote, "Instead of focusing on how to manage air pollution, these so-called experts put their heads together on something totally useless." PM2.5 is a health danger because they're so tiny that they can get into the lungs, causing anything from acute respiratory infection to lung cancer. It's largely created by burning coal, which is one of China's biggest energy sources. The World Health Organization recommends a daily level of no more than 20. Beijing had readings exceeding 700 on January 12th. More than 8,500 people died prematurely, in part due to prolonged exposure to PM2.5 in 4 Chinese cities last year.
Each year, NTD holds a series of competitions aimed at promoting traditional culture, and the schedule of this year's competition has just been announced. There will be 4 competitions in total. They are Chinese martial arts, haute couture design, the Chinese International Piano Competition, and the Chinese Figure Painting Competition. These events will take place this fall, and we have a special segment about the contest coming up in Discovering China. And that brings us to the end of this NTD China News. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, NTD on China, for more of our China content, or you can visit our website at ntd.tv. Thank you for watching.